I guarantee it's going to be between Hunter and Andrew Jacked for the title in Texas.
I created Species Nutrition with one mission in mind: to provide bodybuilders and serious athletes with no-nonsense supplements that work. I put my name and reputation on every bottle of Species Nutrition products. If you want to be your absolute best, join the evolution.
You're funny.
Like I said, do you like my tail?
Like I said.
Welcome back. Wait a minute. That's not Dave Palumbo.
No.
That's Lee Priest.
Well, I'm here because Dave said the show's at 5:30. I had to start without him because Dave was having a little nana nap somewhere.
You know, Lee, I got to tell you, this is Iron Rage, and I'm going to rage for a second. How come all of a sudden the government is like releasing and allowing all these UFO videos, photos? You remember in the past, like every time people would say they saw a UFO, they would dismiss it and they would discount it. What weather balloons? People are insane. Now it's like they can't get enough UFO photos up on social media anymore. What do you think has changed?
Well, I'm glad you asked that, Dave. I'm going to tell you because I've been studying this over the last 10 years, UFO phenomena, objects in the sky, cloud formations, cumulus nimbus, and all of it, reflections from the water. I've really gone into this over the last 10 years. And what it is, it's all about control, Dave. Project Bluebeam is coming. And once they release that, they're putting it out there now. And have you noticed when they put the UFO things out there, people are just like, who cares? They're really not interested. But what they're going to
do, no one cares anymore. You're right.
So they're going to get this Project Bluebeam where they'll put like fake holograms up in the sky. They'll pick a small little town somewhere. So some of you people will be scared that only have a population of a few thousand. You're fucked because the government's going to do an attack on that town, wipe the town out, say it was the UFOs, and have mass control over the population again, like they did with that virus. But this is going to be worse. So they're going to get you to stay indoors, don't go out. There's going to be fake UFO attacks, and you're all going to be controlled again.
That's your theory. There are people out there who have been saying that this is exactly what they believe, that you know what, now we need a fear of the extraterrestrials are going to come get us, so we need the government to protect us, right?
Yeah. Well, if they won't come and get us, but the thing is, though, you don't listen to it. If the government tries to control you, don't listen to them, because really, if there's an advanced civilization out there that can travel through space and time and has that technology, the government ain't fucking saving their ass by staying at home watching TV, okay? You're getting evaporated somehow with the cosmic ray. So.
Right. I have to believe that if someone was going to travel like all those light years to come to this planet, that they have technology that can do that, they wouldn't be coming here to conquer us necessarily. I don't know. If let's say we exhausted all the supplies on this planet in 100 years from now, and we had the technology to go to other planets, and we find another planet that can support our life on it, would we necessarily go there and start bombing the shit out of them, like to take them over? Wouldn't you think we would go there to like negotiate with, like, hey, you know what? Our planet is fucked. We screwed it up. Would you mind giving us some shelter?
You're talking about America, Dave. That's all America knows what to do. If they don't understand it, go invade, destroy it. So what they're going to do is they're going to wipe out some of us, round us up as slaves, take them to their planet Roku 6.7, and on Roku 6.7, we're going to be slaves. But Dave, in 100 years from now, we're going to annoy those aliens because our ancestors later on are going to ask the aliens for reparations. And the reparation debate on the planet Roku 6.7 is going to destroy the planet. So as only humans can. So, you know, they'll be regretting taking us there because they'll probably bring us back in a couple of days.
I would hope that if we evolve in 100 years from now, that we would actually be less, you know, violent and more like spiritual.
Dave,
but
I know you don't watch the news, Dave, but look at the human race right now. Look at the human race right now. We're getting worse when it comes to people fighting, not talking to their neighbors, not knowing anyone, walking around angry, the internet. We're actually getting worse. We're actually going back to Neanderthal type behavior. It's fucking ridiculous.
It is kind of sad that we just can't figure out how to live amicably with each other. But
I don't get it. How hard is it? How hard is it just to be nice to people, treat? But even if you don't like someone, you don't have to be rude to them. Don't talk to them. Just don't do whatever. If you don't like somebody online, don't comment. Scroll past. It's like, why does everyone have to? Yes, we get the. That's my opinion. Well, so what? There's tons of things I see. I have a lot of opinions, but I just scroll past, and then you get the psychos that actually comment on something you post. Do you get it, Dave? And they just keep writing, and the writing goes on and on.
Oh, I know.
And then you know they're a psychopath because they took that much time, effort, and energy. It's like, so no, we're actually. I think I've always said that. I think we're like the rejected aliens, and they put us down here as an experiment to see how we're doing, and they just fly on by, see what we've destroyed. You know, like they fly over Jerusalem in that area, and they're like, that's how they talk, by the way. And on the bottom, they've got subtitles, and it says, "Can you believe they're still fighting here over the Gaza Strip and stuff?" It's like, we're just entertainment. We're just entertainment to them. So,
how come the Russians? By the way, the Russians. Did you see that they made the 239,000 mile journey through space to the moon for the first time in a half century, and they actually took pictures this time to prove it.
Oh, I haven't seen that one yet. Haven't seen it. They'll show Jimmy though.
Yeah, I know. Jimmy might not buy that. That's why I didn't have him on the show. I was afraid he might have a conniption or something like that. Hold on, let me pull those pictures up. They actually have
the number 2 episode of the Jimmy and Lee show is up right now.
I know. YouTube doesn't like it though. They don't want to give you monetization. I think you guys cursed too many times.
We weren't. It was Jimmy and his boyfriend. We caught Jimmy at home with his boyfriend.
And the Soviet Union's Luna 3 mission captured the world's first image of the far side of the moon in October of '59. And then the latest space race is between Russia and India, though it's possibly even likely neither nation will win given the difficulty of the challenge to first land on the shadowy. So they want to go, I guess, to the dark side of the moon.
The side that we can't see, so we don't know if they're there or not.
Yeah, you know, remember Ted Dixon from Gold's Venice?
Yeah.
Lee and I know Ted Dixon. Ted Dixon was this gay guy, nice guy, who I used to work out at Gold's Venice. I'm sure he probably told you the same. Did he tell you the story about the pyramids on the dark side of the moon?
No, but he did tell me that I got nothing to worry about because him being gay, he says, I know your father's gay, Lee, and I feel more like your father, so you're okay.
I thought he liked big guys. Did he like big burly guys? Or did
he was going out with, who was he going? Who was that personal trainer there? The big guy.
Ray,
yeah, nice guy.
Yeah, he said he also said, and you can only believe half of what Ted told you, but he said he had some kind of that Lyle Alzado was his boyfriend for a while.
Yeah, they were bisexual together. Yeah.
Yeah, I don't believe it, but who knows? You never know. So the Russians. Weren't we supposed to send some kind of unmanned spacecraft to the moon?
Yes.
How come we take pictures of it?
And then they were working on the new spacesuits to send people back because they said they have to work out.
They lost the design. Right, they lost the design from 1960. Yeah.
Yeah, how could you lose all that information? Like they're starting again.
They lost it. It's like you lost I lost the electric bill. Can you send me another one? That type of thing. They have.
But the good news is, though, I did hear you say the Russians and the Indians. That's good. So, because if the Indians get there first, they can build a 7-Eleven so you can refuel and then carry on. You can go in, fill up your rocket, get a Slurpee, maybe a donut, and then head off to Mars. So it's actually going to be a nice truck stop.
I have the 7-Eleven app, which is, in Florida, 7-Elevens have gas stations. In New York, they don't have gas stations. So when I pull up to get gas, I can actually, on the app, pick the pump I want. I pay with the app, and then it gives me a countdown. It says, all right, you got 2 minutes to start, fueling up. So I put the thing in, I hit the thing. I don't have to take my credit card out, nothing. I go into 7-Eleven, I can buy my coffee or whatever. While it's fueling, I come back, it's done. I pop it out, I stick it in. It's like I actually feel like there's technology now that has improved, like and it's sped up my experience, there.
While it's fueling and you go inside, someone's there with their jerry can, filling up their can.
You know what, Lee, I got to tell you something. Since I moved to Florida, I don't think like that anymore. Like in New York, if you turn around for 10 seconds, someone steals your car. You can't leave it running. You can't leave it open. You leave a bicycle outside for 10 seconds, someone will swipe it. In Florida, you can leave a bicycle there for 3 days and no one would take it.
Even if someone took it, it's an old 80-year-old retired man. You'll be able to catch him as he's going down the road.
Either that, or they'll shoot you, because it's like Texas here. People carry guns, so like no one steals anything because they're afraid they're going to get shot. And that's why guns are a good deterrent sometimes.
Yeah, our 7-Elevens here have petrol stations, and they all sell Krispy Kreme donuts.
I think ours. I don't know if ours sell Krispy Kreme. They definitely sell donuts, because my son.
I think the ones here must have a contract with Krispy Kreme, because they all sell Krispy Kreme here.
You know who was? I read something online. You remember Usain Bolt, the guy who has the world record in the 100 meters?
This guy.
Exactly. Usain Bolt. First of all, the world record is he has lowered the world record, or his world record is so low. Mm-hmm. It's at 9.59 seconds. It's like insane.
Yeah, I can do that.
Yeah. And he pulled up at the end of the race too a little bit, because he was celebrating. He was grandstanding. He lost maybe another 1/10 of a second. So Usain Bolt, when he went to the Tokyo Olympics, I think that was his last Olympics he won. He doesn't like Chinese food, so they're like, I was reading this article, and they're like, yeah, he ate a very unusual diet. And I already knew what they were going to say, because when you go to a foreign country and they don't have the food that you like, where do you go?
McDonald's.
Yeah, of course. He was eating a la Lee Priest. He was eating 40 chicken McNuggets like 3 to 4 times a day, and he was out. And his metabolism was freaking going nuts there, supposedly, because he was eating all this junk food, but it wasn't negatively affecting him. And I say the same thing. You know what? You might think McDonald's is junk, but you know what? I don't believe it, because it's the same McDonald's you get in Tokyo, you get in New York City, you get in France. It's consistent, the food. So if you're going to go overseas and you're competing as an athlete, sometimes it's not a good idea to put foreign food into your body, because you could get, food poisoning and stuff like that.
Speaking of takeaway fast food places, guess what's coming to Australia?
What are you getting?
Wendy's.
Wow, I didn't know you didn't have Wendy's there.
Nope. Wendy's is coming down under, so I'll be able to go.
Do you like Wendy's better than McDonald's?
It's been so long since I've had it. I remember the Blizzard shakes, where they make the shake and turn it upside down. So it's like, I remember the shakes, but the food, I remember weren't the Wendy's patties square?
Yes, the square burgers.
No, but I look forward to it. So
I liked Wendy's back in the day, only because they used to. I don't know if they still do, because I don't really eat there that much. But they used to have baked potatoes there. I thought that was kind of cool. So
yes, I did. I do remember that, because when I was actually racing in 2006, when I was racing, and just before the Ironman, I had to pack my food and that. And on the way to the racetrack, there was a Wendy's. So I had like my chicken and that with me, and I would call into Wendy's and just get the plain baked potatoes and stuff. So, yes, it was pretty good. And this new petrol station just opened up near me. And they have a place called a Porto. It's like flame grilled chicken.
Yeah. But in Australia, it's probably like $20 for their sandwich there, knowing you guys' pricing.
Pretty expensive. But I went into the garage. It's a new garage. And I walk in, the woman working there. G'day, Lee, how you going? There's another guy stocking the fridge. Hey, Lee, how you going? Then another young kid. Hey, Lee, can I have a photograph? And then I go into a Porto to get some chicken. 3 young kids jump up. Hey, Lee, can we have a photo? I'm like, what is this? Recognize Lee Date, the new petrol station. And they were standing out the front. I hopped in the Aston Martin and gunned it, and they were very happy.
Wow, you felt like a celebrity, like
thank you.
Tom Cruise.
Stay back, people. Stay back.
And you were there filming a TV show, right? On top of that.
Now this was yesterday. I was just come back from. Oh, look at this! Had to get a. This is still 10. They had to get a big chunk cut out.
What happened?
It looked very suspicious. He says it looks suspicious, like melanoma. So they think they cut a bit out. Cut a bit out like that.
Yeah, that's a nice little plug.
It looked like a tattoo. It had my tattoo on it too, so it looked weird. He's got this chunk of skin with the tattoo on it.
Well, that's what I wanted to ask you. How do they even do a real skin check on you with all the tattoos you got? They can tell the difference?
And they have to look hard. And then he said, because I did it 12 monthly, he goes, because of your tattoos, we might do it 6 monthly just to keep checking.
Wow. So you have
I don't want to get sick. Yeah, because, well, like my stepdad had to go back to the hospital yesterday because he had a fever and they couldn't remove all that tumor off his spine. So when they went back yesterday, the tumor has grown again. And he had the liver cancer and lung cancer, but he had a fever. So the ambulance took him to the hospital and now he's got pneumonia.
Oh, my God. Oh, my
God. It's like,
Is it not looking good, Lee?
I don't think so. And the thing is, they really haven't given him a thing, and he wants to know. But when I asked my mum, that she said the doctors haven't told him, like a timeline. But she goes, I think they think it's not looking good because I'm thinking if the tumor on the spine, you can't remove all of it. It's already grown back. Right. He's in constant pain because of the nerves, and then you got cancer in the liver and lungs. Having cancer in the lungs and pneumonia, I don't think it's going to be.
No, it doesn't seem like a very good combination.
I'm going to try and get up there today because I'm thinking. Could be one of those things where I'm thinking, he'll be okay, but then you get the call, he passed away, so I better.
No, yeah, you can't take a chance like that. Yeah, I remember my dad was in hospice, and my wife's like, she's like, "What are you doing home?" I'm like, "I don't know. What do you?" She's like, "You don't know when he's gonna," So she made me go back there, and he still passed overnight, but at least I got to spend some more time. You don't know, but
especially when it's like that, because the thing is now, because he's been doing the radiation and chemo. So if you're doing chemo kills all the good shit. So if you've got pneumonia and everything else, it's hard for your body to fight something if the chemo's killing all your good shit.
It's a tough decision when you get like something like that where you have like almost like a terminal cancer. Do you do the chemo just to extend your life, or do you?
That's what he said to me.
Screw the chemo.
That's what he said to me because the chemo and the radiation. He said it's like the radiation's not the best, but the chemo's making him sick. And that's what he sort of said. He said, I'd like to know that way I have a choice whether I want to put myself through this shit or just live out, with the painkillers the rest of the days or months I have rather than, okay, doing the chemo might give me an extra month, but yet I don't want to feel this shit for that extra month. So what do you do?
Quality of life. Right.
Yeah.
Wow. How old is he?
He's 75, but he looks 60. Trained every day, and like I said, the only reason he went and got it was because he had a back pain and thought he hurt his back training. So, but it was the tumor. So,
right. That's how they always. That's how you find stuff. People. Yeah. It's unfortunate. That's why it's almost like you think with all the technology we have, Lee, you would think that they recommend you get a colonoscopy every so many years after a certain age. Why not do just a complete body scan on everyone, like every 5 years?
I was thinking the same thing, or even every 2 years, just go and get a full body scan.
Yeah.
Where they put the contrast in, they can see everything. That way, if they see anything developing, get it straight away. So
I thought I had my stomach was bothering me. This was about a year and a half ago, and I told my cardiologist, who was a friend of mine, I said, can you send me for a CT scan of my abdomen? And they CT scanned like pancreas, liver, everything. Everything was clear. They got, and you know what? They're like, oh, in the hospital, they're like, well, it's radiation. You're being exposed to. I'm like, you know what? I just got peace of mind for the next couple of years now that I don't have anything growing in me. I said, that was the greatest test I went for. I like when I get those scans, even though you're being exposed to radiation. It's it makes you feel so good that there's nothing in there,
I like that sometimes now because I eat a lot of crap food. Sometimes you get different bowel movements, and sometimes if I go more than 3 times a day and it's a bit runny, I'm like, oh no, it could be colon cancer. Then I'm thinking, well, maybe it was the Kentucky chicken. I'm not sure.
I'm doing this parasite cleanse now because I told you, I don't know if and I'm pooping my brains out from this stuff. Not like excessive, but I'm just going more frequently than I normally go. And I'm assuming it's from that, and it's 2 droppers in water I'm drinking once a day. It's the weirdest thing. So obviously, you know, from what I understand and the reading I've done, most people do have some parasites in their body. And it's probably not a bad idea for you to do it too. I mean, you're 50 years old.
Like I had the test done where you poke the poo and you send it off to look for fecal matter. I had the PSA and that, and it was below normal for someone my age. But sometimes I drink that much water, even through in the night, like every 2.5 hours, I'm up pissing. I'm thinking, oh no, it's the prostate. Something's wrong for the prostate.
I do that. I'm up every 2 hours too. Like clock, you could set your watch to it. Yeah.
And that's like, man, I went to bed, it'll be like, say I wake up at 10, okay, piss, go back to sleep, get up, I look at the clock, 12:15, lay back down, there'll be 2 something. It's almost like 2 to 2.5 hours on the dot.
I don't know if it really is prostate enlargement or if it's just the way our bodies detoxify themselves. Because as a bodybuilder, my whole career I was like that. Like it's never stopped. Like it wasn't, before I became a bodybuilder and ate every 2 hours, I never did that. So I'm wondering if it's our eating habits that create that cyclical need to eliminate every 2-3 hours. You know.
Well, when I train in the morning and do cardio, I'll probably have close to 3 to 4 liters of water then, and then I'll drink more. But you notice you can hold in, but the first time you take a pee from that point on, you got to keep going all the time. Sometimes I can train for 2 hours, go pee, get on the treadmill. I'm only 15 minutes in. I'm like, fuck, I got to piss again. I got to get off the treadmill. I think it's only been 15 minutes.
Yeah, you must drink a lot in the morning, because usually when you do exercise, your kidneys kind of shut off while you're doing the exercise. So that's why a lot of people don't have to pee while they do that. But you drink so much. See, my problem is that I don't drink enough in the morning, and I try to make up for it later in the day. And then I wind up being up all night, peeing my brains out, you know.
I'm the opposite. I try and drink as much as I can earlier.
You're smart. That's what you're supposed to do.
But then around 3 o'clock, I'm like, I'll just start easing off now before bed. Still doesn't work. I still peeing through the night.
Yeah, but can you imagine if you drank that much water at night? I remember when I would diet for shows, I must have had 40 cups of coffee, especially when I go to LA. I'd always be Coffee Bean and all these Starbucks. And this is back when they were only LA had these coffee shops. And I would literally just, I've said this before, I could sit on the toilet and just, pee continuously. That's how much fluid I'd have in me.
Well, then lately, because I've been just taking the 1 ml test every 7-8 days. Sometimes it's like, for the last month or so, it's like I've been, every time I wake up with an erection, then you got to try and pee with an erection, and it's like, go down. You're trying to lean over this way and point it down, and then it will go, then it will stop, then it will go, then it will stop. I think I'm empty. Lay back in bed. No, there's still some in there. I got to get back up.
This is how lazy I am now. Like whenever you have to go to the bathroom, you're like, I got to walk to the bathroom now.
And you stand there, you're sort of swagging.
Yeah. So what I've been doing is, this is how lazy I am. When I had my ankle surgery, I had that scooter, the little scooter. So now I've been keeping the scooter by my bed, and so when I go to the bathroom, I just get on the scooter, I scoot right to the bathroom, pee, scoot back. It's effortless, and I'm like,
beside the bed, why don't you just put one of those like chairs you sit on, and it has the bucket seat toilet under it. You can just get out of bed, sit on the seat.
A commode, yeah. I should just have a commode right there. If I wasn't so grossed out by urine smell, I'd probably do it. But it's worse what I'm doing. It's like I'm like on a little scooter like this because I'm so fucking lazy to walk there. So
it's like you get like the little bedpan. Remember the old bedpans they used to have?
Yeah. Oh yeah. That's one thing I hate in the hospital, like having to use like the urinal or if I can't get up to go pee, it's to me, it's like mortifying. I just hate it.
By the time I had my neck operation, I had one of those jug things, it's got the funny neck on the pee. And it just feels weird because I'm laying in the bed. I can't get up. You're holding the bottle between your legs laying there. And you think this is just a weird position to pee. And so it's just hard to pee while you're laying down.
Right. Anyway, all right, let's talk about the Texas Pro Show coming up this weekend. And you said it in the intro. You think it's between Andrew Jacked and Hunter Labrada, who just won Tampa?
Hunter looked great at his last show he won. So I'm thinking if he comes in a little bit even drier, he can win it. But then we haven't seen Andrew for a little while and what improvements he's made. And then sometimes I think, because the Olympic, how many shows till the Olympics? Is there like still a few more, like 5 or 6? Or
I don't know if there's that many more, but there's a few more. Yeah.
Well, that's the thing. But I'm thinking if it's close, I don't want to say politics, but if it's close, would they give Andrew the nod just to get him into the Olympia because Hunter's already qualified?
Possible. Look at the size of Andrew next to Jay. I think
Yeah.
Jay's probably 5'10" and 5'11". Andrew looks like the Jolly Green Giant next to him. He's so big. And I'm telling you, Chris Aceto is, who's doing his diet, has sent me pictures and video, which I can't put up because he swore me to secrecy, but he looks really good. I think it's going to be a really tough battle between Andrew, Hunter, who obviously is on a roll right now with that win.
Carlos.
And Carlos Thomas Jr. Now, Carlos Thomas Jr. is an interesting character because he's the shortest of those guys. But, if you ever see his front double bicep, it's brutal. I mean, he doesn't have any weakness. He looks like a cartoon character. But from behind, his back double's got a little bit of vulnerability. But it's probably his only pose that he's vulnerable on. So, I mean, what do you think the chances of a new guy, he's making his pro debut, doing some damage here and winning the show?
It can happen. I never count anything out. He hasn't got the width that Hunter and Andrew have, but he's densely muscled, that 3D type look. So, who looks good? He just posted a picture of his rear lat spread was Sampson. He's looking really good in that rear lat spread, his latest picture.
Yeah, he's pretty good. Let's pull up Carlos here for a second.
His front double is so... Did I hear somewhere that James Hollingshed is working with Chris now, is he?
I don't know, it's possible. It's possible. I have to ask Chris. Chris sometimes doesn't mention things to me. So that's Carlos right there, front double. And it's funny because
if he comes in shredded, he's going to look like I did at the San Francisco, where you're shorter, you've got that thick mass, but coming shredded, the illusion on stage, he'll look like a freak, more freaky than he is now. So
the thing is, he's got a really, really tiny waist too for his size. I mean, it's almost like, how is his waist so small? I mean, with those legs, because usually when you have big quads, your waist gets a little thicker because you're training your legs so hard, you thicken the waist. But the guy has like no obliques. It's crazy.
I know how it feels.
Hello, the lat spread, those are some freaky quads. I mean, I'm not easily impressed with quads because there's not that many guys around that have the nutty, wheels anymore. But those fronts are just nuts. I mean, he's not even locking them out. He's got the striations in the quads.
And he's not standing crazy either with them flared out like riding a horse like something.
No.
Imagine if that's not even his house he's standing in front of. That's the
I was going to say something about that, Lee. When I used to work with him back in the day, that must be his father's house. Every time I would get pictures from him, and I'm talking like 5-6 years ago, it was the same door and the same brick wall. So it's got to be his dad's house.
He might not have anyone to take the picture, so he's just visiting and says, "Hey, take some pictures." That must be the lighting, like the Gold's Gym special door.
Yeah. No, but I always got the shots right there. It's the same house. It's the
maybe he's trying to show us from the camera angle that he's wide as the door.
He's wider than the door. I got news to you. Look, I love the fact that we have guys that are coming out of the off the amateur ranks and are actually doing some damage right from day one. And I can't see him any worse, to be honest with you, than third place here, unless he doesn't bring the conditioning he needs to, which I don't think that's a possibility. This guy was supposed to have competed. Whatchamacallit? It was what show was he supposed to do? And then he got sick. He had to postpone it.
I can't remember, but I know it's going to be a good show with those three. I can't remember who else is in it, but those three alone, like I said. But I just hope they give it to the best person on the day and don't do Hunter's qualified. We need another good name in there. Get some Andrew.
They'll do that. You know why? Because they remember when Ian Valier won that year against Steve Kuklo, and he had already won the Tampa before that, and they gave it to him.
Yeah. But I mean, if it's super, super close, if it's clear winner, but if it's right there, they could be. Well, where you see those shows where you're like, I wouldn't have been upset if it went either way. So
yeah. Let's pull up.
You know what? I went and test drove yesterday, Dave, because I was just.
Oh, you're already sick of the Aston?
No, I love the Aston, but I just that Lexus LC 500, the 5-liter V8.
Oh, how is that? Was it fast?
Yes, very nice. Got a great sound. Comes with a nice sound too. Have you seen them?
No, I'm going to pull it up in a second. Let's just look at Hunter Labrada here for a second. This is recent. It looks a little flat here to me.
Yeah, he probably posted in the comments, low carb day, just finished cardio, not pump. That's what everyone always writes when they put up something. No carbs, just flat. Yeah, it's going to be, like I said, Andrew, we haven't seen. When his last show was what? The Olympia?
Yeah, no, the Arnold.
Oh, the Arnold, that's right. Yeah, so we haven't seen him since then. So if he's made some improvements and comes in shredded, like I said, it's going to be hard to pick because they're both great, but they both have, like I said, they're not perfect. So it's going to be hard to which one you go for.
I'm going to go on record and I'm going to say just from, and once again, I hate making predictions based on pictures and videos, but you know, Andrew is so big, Lee.
Mm-hmm.
And he's really hard. He's so hard. As a matter of fact, I was telling Chris today, you better start feeding this guy because it's only Thursday and he's not going on stage till Saturday. He's so big that.
Well, that's not fair. You've got insider information. You've seen photos and videos.
I'm giving you the insider information. I'm not allowed to show the photos, but I can give you the information. The information is that he's big, but until you see these guys standing next to each other, it's hard to make an assumption of who's going to win.
Mm-hmm.
But I got to be honest with you. I would be shocked if he didn't win this show. You know, I really would.
And the thing is, too, you got to hope you've seen photos and videos of him. You got to pray the stage lighting's good to accentuate that.
Well, you know what? You see, the problem is when you look at someone 2 days out from a show, a lot of things can go wrong. You can get too flat. You can get too full. You know, you can hold water because you get nervous. I don't know what his mindset is. He seems like he's pretty. You know, Andrew's one of these guys that doesn't talk to anyone. He secludes. He's like Kai Green. He secludes himself before a show and he just focuses on the show, and that's why you don't see anything on social media from him. So I have to believe that's probably good for him not to get his head into what's going on with everyone else out there, because when you start doing that, you know what happens. You start saying maybe I should be fuller because Labrada's fuller, or maybe I should be this
if I just do this, if I just do that, that will make it better.
And that's how you screw yourself up big time. You know?
Always.
Yeah. Hold on. Let me pull up this competitor list here. Dum, 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 dum. Where's this Texas Pro? Oh, I know. I saw. Hold on.
The new Lamborghini Countach 0 to 60 in 2.5 seconds, Dave.
Oh, they have a Countach coming out again? Wow.
Yep, new one. I watch these TV where they do car reviews. The 2023 Aston Martin DBS.
Don't look the same though. They just changed the engine to the Countach. I did in my 1997 training video that I made with Matt Duval. The guys who filmed it had a Countach. And we made it, and the whole story was like a little time machine story. And we actually used the Countach in the video.
Yeah, well, nice. The old Countach. I think every young kid I know probably had a Countach poster on their wall.
But you know what? Getting in this car was the most uncomfortable. It was like you're driving from a coffin almost. It's terrible.
And it's very basic inside. They haven't really got a lot back in the old Countach. Just the dash and that. My friend, when he had one, I went for a drive with him, reversing it, because it didn't have reverse cameras, and he used to undo the door, sit on the door thing, and look as he's going back.
To be honest, I needed someone to pull me out of it, and this is when I was like 300 pounds. But that's the new one. That's the new Countach you were talking about. Wow, it's pretty hot.
Needs a tail on the back there.
Yeah, I think the new look is like nothing sticking out, like very aerodynamic. There's the root.
Now look at the LC 500.
Okay, hold on a second. Where's all the pictures we're supposed to see? Oh, here, the gallery. Let me see.
The secret that I want to show you.
That's nice. What do you know what the specs on this thing are on the Countach?
No. Fast. Fast, uncomfortable on long trips, but you look good driving.
Yeah, exactly. It looks like an airplane, this thing. Wow.
I'm sure if it had wings on it, the speed it would get up to, you could probably.
What do you think about the new Corvette? I think the new Corvettes look nice. Some people don't like them. They say they look too much like Ferraris. I'm like, that's a good thing.
Idea, but yeah, it's growing on me, especially the new Z06 version. It's very.
Yeah. right, now what was the car you want me to look at? The Lexus what?
LC 500.
Lexus is all.
Very nice inside. It's got actually a gauge. It's speed gauge here. It's metal, and when you change driving modes, the metal gauge actually slides across the glass to give you different configuration on your dashboard. It's pretty cool. This metal gauge just slides across.
There it is. Hold on.
Pretty wide looking and nice look. Nice lines to it.
Are you thinking about buying it or?
I don't know.
That means yes. There it is. Let's see. It's all right. I'm not, like I said, I'm not really a huge Lexus fan. But
you mean pretty Toyota?
Yeah, that's exactly that. I always thought that, But then my friend Dave Smith works for BMW, and he was telling me the BMWs are not made as good as they used to be either. So I don't know, but I've never had any problems with BMW. I like them. Anyway, that's the Lexus. And what's the new Aston Martin?
The DB12, is it? Or the F1 Vantage. They brought two out, the DB12 and the F1 Vantage. They're nice. Now they're nice looking, Dave, and quick.
It's a new one, or is it the?
No, they got a new one, new DB12 and the Vantage F1. The Vantage F1's nice when it comes in that racing type green and. The new Vantage F1 has the AMG GT motor, twin turbo from Mercedes.
Mercedes put the motor in there. Holy shit! How'd they pull that one off?
Don't know, because people are complaining, going, "I want to buy an Aston. If I want to buy a Mercedes, I'll buy a bloody Mercedes."
Yeah, that's pretty hot looking, actually.
I'm not into convertible.
It doesn't look like an Aston as much as like your car looks like the Aston.
Find a better picture. There's the green one, if you can find it. Just go to images, and it's nice, the green. But the DB12,
that's an old one.
The DB12 is a 12-cylinder again.
How's their pickup off the line though?
Good. Very quick.
Sometimes those V12s don't pick up too fast.
Like you plant your foot and you got that sort of little lag.
Yeah. It's got a good high end, high end speed, but the off the line sometimes is not that good. This green one here?
It's got like a gray stripe on it.
That one? Oh, hold on, I didn't put it up. Hold on.
Yeah, that looks good.
Yeah.
The only green I see is the species.
That one?
It's loading. It's like, no, that's not it. That looks like the newer DB12. If you just put in Vantage F1, you shouldn't get white. The only thing that comes in white is washing machines and fridges.
Look at that. What the hell is that? A Casino Royale.
That's the old one, the older one.
Yeah, that thing's in mint condition.
That could be the Vanquish. That looks like a concept, that one. If you just put in new Vantage F1. Definitely got nice lines, the Aston, doesn't it?
That's a nice. See, I like that one. Aston Martin DBS Super Leggera.
Oh yes, they're nice.
That's the one I want right there.
They're only like 400,000 or 500,000 here,
and probably $1 million in Australia.
Yeah.
Let's go back to bodybuilding for a second here. All right, I wanted to just mention the guys who are doing their pro debut at the show. This is
how many's in the show?
I don't know how many total people, but there's 2 other pro debuts. Jordan Hutchinson is doing his pro debut. Pull his picture up here.
Is there someone called John in it too who has good legs, or am I thinking of something else?
Hold on. I'm going to pull up one thing at a time here. He's looking good, Jordan. And we also got, well, someone else is doing their pro debut. Jonathan Withers too.
Yeah, he's got pretty good legs, doesn't he, that guy, I think?
Yeah, I'll pull his stuff up here. Okay.
Have you seen everyone going on about that Sam? You know, Sam Sulek, the one that
yeah, we were talking about him on After Hours. What do you think about him?
Oh, look, he's just a young kid. He's having fun. He's training. And now I see all these videos. They're talking about, oh, he's young. He's taking gear. Oh, he's young. And his diet. And like, who gives a fuck what he eats? He's young. He can probably get away with it. I ate all that shit when I was young and stuff. So I don't get why these people are, oh, he's the worst diet ever and this and that. And he's got to be careful being that young. I'm like, oh, Jesus, people, get a life.
Everyone's got like something to say. Yeah. I love how everyone has like an opinion.
He's going to kill himself eating like that and blah blah. Okay, well, use all the saviors of bodybuilding. Thank you.
Funny thing is, the guy has 0% body fat. He's got no body fat on him. Right? Yeah. So I mean, my theory when I was coming up was if you burn the stuff off, then obviously it can't be as bad for you then as if you store the stuff, in your body.
Yeah, so it's like, just leave him alone. I'm sure he's not out there trying to kill himself. He's just enjoying his training. I'm sure he would have his blood work done and stuff like that because Fuad's always into that thing and that Merrick Health, whatever it is, and get your blood panels done. So people, calm down about Sam. Just, worry about yourselves, okay?
There he is. Got some good muscle on him. I mean, I don't know if he'll ever be a pro. I don't know if he wants to. I think he's more of a social
like I said, I think he's just enjoying his training, doing whatever. Now, if he competes, he competes. If he doesn't, he just loves training and the lifestyle. So, and the funny thing is that you look at half the people that were talking, the gear he's on at a young age. I know people on gear on younger than that don't even look like they train and stuff. So it's like,
let me ask you this question: If you were around in today's world, if you were 19-year-old Lee Priest, you'd probably have a crazy cult following on Instagram. You would never have left Australia because there would be no reason to go to Gold's Venice because there's no Ed Connors there. Now, would you have been a guy who wanted to compete, or would you have been a guy who just would have been like a social media like starlet and made a ton of money from that?
I guess it'd be a tough question because in today's world, because like I said, if I had social media, because look at these younger guys like Tristan Lee and all those people when they got on social media. Could you imagine me if I had started posting pictures at 13, 15, 16,
I know,
17?
You would have had millions and millions of followers is what I'm saying.
And like I said, that's what would be hard because you'd be like, okay, if I can just train and film stuff and do this and I'm making all this money.
I know you're a lazy homebody. That's why I'm thinking that,
I'd be like, if I could travel and do appearances and not have to, like a Victor Richards, I'd be like, well, I put my body through hell for $10,000 if I could make that just eating and training, not having to compete. So.
Right, but everyone would have been trying to egg you on to compete because obviously you had the ability. Would you have? Yeah. You think you would have done it, or you think you would have just said, fuck it, I'm just gonna."
It'd be hard because if I was big and freaky like I was and young, and you got that big cult following, and they want to see you compete, then you do compete. If you got second or third, you lose that aura, because it's like they could always say, if Lee was in that show, he would have won. He would have killed him. Maybe I would. Maybe I wouldn't. If you didn't, then you'd be like, he sucks now. So
they said that about Victor Richards, and everyone's like, he was a pussy. He didn't want to compete. I said, I've interviewed Victor, and Victor was making some serious money from Joe Weider. Yeah. He was like the second highest paid guy behind like Lee Haney, I think, or whoever was winning the Olympia at the time.
Yeah.
And so why would Victor risk getting on stage, like you said, and not doing well, and then having people say, he's not that good, and then he might lose all those contracts and stuff like that.
Exactly. So it's always just been a what if he did it, and then you could go to contests looking good and stand near the guys competing, and they go, oh, look at that. I did some photos once at the Arnold in Australia when I'd been suspended and some of the competitors were there, like Ben Pilakowski and all them. I took photos with all the comments were, Lee blows them away. Look at the size of Lee. And he hasn't even competed for 5-6 years. And these guys are competing today and Lee looks better. So he had that aura, meaning, but if I had got on stage, I might have looked like shit. But in the photos, Lee looks much better.
Yeah, I think sometimes, the what if is worth more than the this is what you got, And Victor did that one guest posing in FIBO where he stood next to Dorian Yates, who's Mr. Olympia, and he looked like he was monstrously bigger. And I don't think anyone ever thought that anyone would make Dorian Yates look small.
Yeah,
it was crazy. Let me see if I can pull that up. I mean, Dorian was like not like beating people. He was destroying people, like Flex Wheeler and Nasser El Sambadi. He was destroying those guys at the Olympia.
You pull that picture up. I've had a coffee and 3 of these full of water. I got to go pee. So it's in my head now.
All right,
I'll be back.
Leave with the peeing already. Yeah, you better get that prostate checked. Let's see if I can find the Dorian Yates footage here. Oh, here it is. Here it is. I got it. It's Nick Strength and Power. He probably did a little video on this thing. Let's see if we can pull it up here. Yeah, guys. There we go. Ready, Lee? Here we go.
Yeah, it's like when you're trying to rush to take a pee, it seems to come out slower.
Of course.
I'm looking at online here. Anavar banned. Legal expert reacts.
It was a good interview if you guys want to find out what's going on with Anavar, because they're trying to get rid of it from the marketplace. Rick Collins talks about it.
Well, they did that with Anapolin back in the day too, and they brought it back too for AIDS patients. Remember?
That's true. Well, that's why they brought the Anavar back, and I don't know why they're getting rid of it again. It's so
you remember it used to like Anapolin would be like $100 a bottle if you got it from a doctor, and then they brought it back for AIDS patients, and it went up to almost $1,000. Whoa! Wonder why.
I remember back when I went to Barcelona. You know how much Anavar? I mean, you know how much Anadrol was? You can get 100 punch outs. So it was a box of 100 basically for $25, right over the pharmacy.
Anadrol was like the little red football shaped ones, wasn't it?
No, those were Anadrol 50s were like little white pills, basically.
We had a testosterone pill here that was like a little dark red little football shaped one. Yeah, look at Victor there, huh?
Yeah, I mean Dorian looked pretty good there too, but I think it was just the mystique that someone could actually stand next to Dorian size wise, and Dorian was obviously a lot harder and had a better back, and on stage Dorian would have probably destroyed Victor, but I mean the mystique, it was exactly. Like that's what people wanted to see. Yeah. Anyway, all right, well that's. I thought I would just ask you that because I always wondered, I said, Lee's such a social media guy. I mean, I bet you back in the day, if he would have been on social media, he never would have competed, because I know you like to just stay home and do the same routine over and over. I probably would have just trained, got the following, and done stand-up comedy. Yeah. Which is what you do now. So, I mean, you can do it all.
I'm so short standing, that doesn't make a difference, really, does it? I could be like a sit-down comedian rather than stand-up.
What about if you would have given an option when you were like 19? You could be a race car driver or you can be a bodybuilder, but you had to pick one. You couldn't do both. What would it have been?
Race car driver.
Yeah.
So I'd still train keep myself fit and healthy. And race car. Imagine just working your way.
Being big probably was a disadvantage, I would think, for race car driving, right? Because that.
Yeah. Depending on, the car has plenty of horsepower, so maybe not. But just imagine that finally working your way through. And if you got into Formula One, imagine traveling the world, staying at these beautiful places, having fans, and you get to drive Formula One cars as your job. What a job.
Yeah, I wonder if these guys are scared. You know, do you think these guys have fear of driving those cars? Or do you think that they just they don't care?
I think you need a little bit of fear because, you know, a little bit of fear keeps you, you know, if you're totally fearless, then you could be like, I wouldn't say reckless, but, you know, if you have no fear, like having a little bit of fear keeps you knowing the boundaries. I remember the first time, you know, going around California Speedway and they're like, Lee, you got to drive it to the limit. You got to find that limit where the back end's going to come out. So you'll be going into a turn, giving it more. You hear the tires squeal a little bit and they start to brake. So you almost got to push the boundaries and the limits to know where the limit is. To, you know.
Did you ever crash when you were driving?
Touch wood, no.
You
The
never
worst
had
thing is
crash.
if you go into a corner sometimes, it's like I see people, you're going around the corner, your back end goes out. Most people, as the back end goes out, turn this way. Then you flip the whole car around. So as you're going around, the back end goes this way. You've got to turn into it. The only thing is, though, if you as you turn into it, if the wheels hook up, now you're heading straight for the wall. So you got to.
Definitely, you know, look, I give those guys credit. People think race car driving isn't a sport, man. Those guys, think about how much adrenaline your adrenal gland's supposed to be pumping out that whole race. Oh,
it does, because when I was doing it, it's like you're trying to even calm down, but even then, you feel like your adrenaline's just on high the whole time, so your breathing's up there. But then it's just like the mental focus too you got to have when you're running so close to somebody and that sort of thing. It's just like, people go, oh, that's boring, just going around in circles. That's easy. It's like, well, I thought that when I went to drag racing. I thought, well, fucking driving in a straight line, how hard can that be?
Right. What's the G-forces like when you're doing those drag races?
Generally under like the alcohol and the top fuel is pull 5 and -5 when you pull the parachute, which are worse because the -5 is more like,
you like a whiplash.
And if your lap belt's in the wrong spot, you know about it.
Yeah. I was watching, you know, that John Force guy. You know, he's got the daughter who drives now. What's her name?
Both his daughters did now. She's in. I think one's in. Well, one used to be in the funny cars, and one went into the dragsters as well. But yeah, John's funny. He does the funny. Yeah, fuck. How many world championships has he won now? He's like, he's got a whole heap. He started off as a truck driver.
You know what the funny thing is? He's still driving. I just was watching it the other day at a sports bar. I'm like, this guy is still going. He's got to be what, in his 60s, 70s?
Have to be, yeah.
How old? I'm going to look him up. How old is he?
John Force Racing. He'd have to have at least 10 to 12 or maybe more titles, does he? World Championship. Matt Hagen, I follow him on Instagram and he follows me and Flex follows him. Really nice guy.
Born in 1949, John Force.
Matt Hagen is a nice guy. He's won a few now and doing well. Young guy, but he's always into his training. Puts up shots sometimes with his shirt off.
22-time champion, John Force.
There you go.
Crazy. But it doesn't surprise me, you know, when you see these families, you know, what is the daughter? The daughter probably spent her whole life at the racetrack, you know, when she was a kid. Of course she's driving, you know. She probably was driving when she was 8, you know.
Yeah, they start off in those junior dragsters and doing stuff like that and work their way. Well, why wouldn't you? If your father's got the race team, you got the sponsors, and you really love it, why not go do it? Shit, I'd do that. Be like,
how hard is it when you see these actors from Hollywood and then their kids go into acting? I mean, look, if I'm, you know, a top star like, you know, Tom Cruise or, you know, Angelina Jolie, all I got to do is make one phone call and you know that their kid is going to get a role in something if they really want it.
I can't remember what it was. There was a movie the other day I watched. It was like it wasn't bad. It was a Van Damme movie and his son was in it.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
That's weird. I didn't even know his son. I guess what, his son with Gladys Portuguese?
Yeah.
Oh, wow.
And there's some other shows I was watching too. I know Bruce Willis's daughter, she's been in a few, and you have Stallone's daughter. They've been in, I think, one of his daughters.
Bruce Willis is a good-looking guy, and Demi Moore is a good-looking woman, and they have the ugliest kids, I think. Don't you think? How could that happen?
Well, you can't have the best of everything. Then you might have an ugly couple that have the cutest kid and most gorgeous. I don't know. Maybe we should see how the milkman looked.
telling you.
But even what's his name's son looks a lot like him. Clint Eastwood's son, doesn't he? In a lot of those shows he's been in, he looks like
a lot like him. Yeah, a lot like him.
He looks like a young Clint Eastwood, exactly.
Hold on, here's Van Damme's kid. Let me pull him up here. His kids look just like Gladys. Hold on.
It wasn't a bad movie. There's someone kidnapped and he had to come out and save them. And
Gladys Portuguese was a top level female women's bodybuilder.
I think they're married again. Didn't they get divorced and get back together?
Yeah, I don't know if they're still together again or they got divorced again. The funny thing is that Van Damme stole Gladys from Brian Moss, who owned Better Bodies in the city. They were originally dating.
What did she do? Just go to the highest bidder?
I don't know. I guess I'm sure they were having. Who knows? Yeah,
Yeah.
We should get Brian Moss on the show and have him tell the story. I'm sure there's a story.
What's his name? Loved bodybuilding. Used to come to all the shows. Great guy. Used to love.
Gregory Hines.
Yeah. He was with Negrita Jade, wasn't he?
Oh, that's right. You're right.
Yeah.
I forgot about that.
Yeah, they were a couple for a long time. But did they get married or just engaged? I can't remember. But
that's a good question. Now
he loved bodybuilding. He used to eat at Fresh to Go and that with him, and he loved it. Loved the sport.
He used to be at the shows in Manhattan. He would be at all Weinberger shows all the time.
Yeah, I'd sit and eat with him at Fresh to Go, and he just loved the sport, loved training. Really, really nice guy, down to earth, and that. Considering, back in the day, he was like a pretty good actor, in a lot of movies and that. Yeah, he was a nice guy. He passed away from cancer too, didn't he?
Yeah, I think a couple of years ago, Gregory Hines died.
I was watching a movie the other day. I put on Split Second, and I used to tell Rachel that my wife, now he was a great guy. Rutger Hauer used to come into World Gym. You talk about down to earth actor, just totally come in, bag his clothes on. Nice guy.
The movie that I remember Rutger Hauer, I was so petrified of him as a kid. Remember he did that movie Nighthawks with Stallone?
Yeah, that was good.
You saw that movie? A great movie.
Yeah, and then he did remember The Hitcher, where he played the hitchhiker that was killing people?
Yeah. Oh yeah, that's right. Yeah.
And he's in a good one that not many saw. It's based in London. It's like in the future, and it's like after whatever, and there's raining all the time. It's called Split Second, and there's this alien creature in it. It looks similar to the creature from Aliens going around the city killing people, and he thinks it's a serial killer, but it's actually this alien.
I gotta watch that. I think I've seen it. It sounds very familiar.
Yeah.
Let me see. Oh, here's a good picture of Stallone. And,
Split Second, it's called.
Stallone had a beard in this movie. I remember. I'm like, wow, Stallone has such diversity. That was remember they were on the Roosevelt Island tram that goes over the city,
Mm-hmm.
And they were fighting under that. That's Rutger Hauer on the right. Blast from the past. All right, so Lee, you say you're going to say Andrew Jacked, Labrada. You want to pick one of them? I gave you my pick. I gave you. I think Andrew Jackson will win the show, even though I love the way Labrada looked in Tampa.
I'm just going to say Labrada because I've only seen Labrada. I haven't seen Andrew. You've seen Andrew, but I'll go with Labrada.
All right. So Lee's going with Labrada. I think it's going to be
close. I think it's going to be close. But then again, like I said, Carlos could surprise us all. And maybe
Carlos could beat everyone. I got news for you. If these guys come off a little bit, but I think even a third place in this lineup for Carlos would be an incredible win, because you got to remember these two guys have been on the Olympia stage, and Andrew just came off a top 3, Arnold Classic. So these guys are the upper echelon. If he knocks off even one of these guys, that's a feather in his cap.
The thing is, he used to be 212, didn't he?
Who?
Carlos, wasn't he 212?
Carlos hasn't had his pro debut yet. Carlos, when I worked with him a couple of years back, he was a middleweight. Then we were going to bring him up to light heavyweight, and he grew so much in 1 year. He went from middleweight to super heavyweight the next time he competed. That's how much. And he's not a tall guy, so he's got a lot of mass on his
that
body.
creatine kicks in, it's like woof.
Yeah. Oh yeah. He's still young too, which is great. I love the fact that all these guys are really young, and so. There's still
my eyes feel very cool because I have that Be Jolly lotion the guy sent me. It's a great lotion. I thought I washed my hands properly. I must have had some under my fingernails, and I went like that, and now my eyes are having that cooling methyl feels.
Oh, not good. You know, whenever I would, I wear contact lenses. So whenever I would be backstage at these bodybuilding shows, you remember when people used to spray that hot stuff spray on, like that vasodilator, and it would get in the air and it would land on my contact lenses. And I would be like, I'm blind, I can't see. Because it would be burning the shit out of my contact lenses. And there's nothing you can do. I couldn't take them out,
I know. Well, sometimes I would take them out and put them back in backstage. And sometimes I'd get the tan on the contact and it looks like I'm looking through.
I didn't know you wear contacts. You wear contacts too?
I used to, but now I don't have glasses if I want to read stuff, but I don't really worry about it. Just this eye's a bit out of focus to this one.
No hot stuff backstage.
Remember the hot stuff, though, the smell of it would take your breath away, and all you hear backstage was...
Yeah. But you know what? There was a smell that when you walked into a high school auditorium, on the day of the show, you knew there was a bodybuilding show. That smell just permeated the air. And for some reason, I associated with such good memories that smell because it was so primal. There was no spray tanning back then. Everyone tanned at their house. They came there with the hot stuff spray. Everyone had their own little concoction they would spray on themselves. But I remember that smell was bodybuilding,
I know. And the hot stuff, though, would work good for some, but some I remember
turn them red.
And make them red. It almost like bring water to the surface of it.
Like a lobster, some people. Yeah, you're right. You're right.
But isn't it funny how smells do? What was I the other day? I walked past somewhere. They must have been having a baked dinner. And as soon as I smelt it, I got the image. Grandmother's kitchen table, sitting around having it's funny how a smell or a song in an instant can bring back a memory. Like
I have a sauce. Yep. There's a sauce smell that I know. If I smell it, I only smell it in very few restaurants that I've ever been to. But when I smell it, it's like my grandmother's house because we used to go there every Sunday for Sunday
it's like
dinner.
Come back in it. It's like even how we say Gold's has changed now and the atmosphere is different. But when I went in there, when I was there last, and I want to get back there, but as soon as you walk in, just to see the place, the smell of the place, I can get every memory of. It's almost like I'm picturing the pros still there from when I was there. It's funny; it all just comes back like boom.
Smell is a very strong, I guess you could say, emotion. It brings. It has emotion.
There was my great grandmother.
You ever smell someone who smells like your grandmother? You ever go on a date with a girl who wore the same perfume as like your grandmother? And
I was just going to say, my great grandmother used to have this. My great grandmother used to have this perfume. It used to come in a little purple thing like that, and she used to just dab it on. I was somewhere the other day. And I pictured it as like, as soon as I smelled it, I went, fuck. I pictured the bottle. I pictured my grandmother's bedroom, the big floral dresser. And she always had this compact thing. You take the lid off. It had talcum powder in there with like a powder puff thing they used to put on their body. It's like it all came back like boom, just like that.
Yeah. No, it's true. It's true. Smells. It's all about smells. All right, guys. Texas Pro this weekend. Sid is going to be there announcing the show. He'll be the MC. Chris Aceto will be there with his athletes. There'll be a great wrap up after, hopefully with Chris and Sid.
Don't forget the #2 Jimmy and Lee show up where Jimmy cheats on me with a boyfriend in his house, and Tyler and Hunter are on the show.
Yeah, I like the addition of Tyler to your show. I think it adds a level of zaniness to the show that I kind of like.
Yeah, but it's good though because Jimmy was there with his training partner, and first Jimmy's talking about he's got a sore ass, and then his training partner comes in no top on, and all they're talking about is Jimmy watching him pee and stuff. And I said, Jimmy, you're back on the test, and you couldn't even wait like 8 weeks for me to come there. You had to find somebody else already.
Check out the Jimmy and Lee show only on rxmuscle.com.
It's very upsetting having to find out this information live.
I know, Jimmy has trouble with loyalty. You guys live too far. Distance relationships never work.
He's back on the test. He's got another guy. He said he's waking up with erections again and feeling horny. I'm like,
he's not calling me anymore either. So it must be.
How soon they forget you, Dave, when their dick's hard. It's just out fucking going after
he's
anyone.
Too-timed on both of us, I think. Yeah,
I know.
Right.
Unbelievable.
Unbelievable is right. All right, guys, that's going to do it for this week on Iron Rage. I'm Dave Palumbo with Lee Priest. Check out the Texas Pro.
Can we keep talking? I don't want to go train legs. Can we keep talking?
I was wondering why Lee's been stalling me. I knew he had to go to the gym. He obviously doesn't want to go.
I was meant to do them like Monday or Tuesday. I've been putting it off. I'm like, oh, I better do them.
Never skip leg day. See you guys next week.